say that is if you're generating quite a few jobs in that area, you need the space for and the breakout space for them to actually enjoy, and hopefully some of them would be starting families, so the parent-child facility, which is an excellent idea in relation to the park, probably would need to be delivered almost on day one, so that the that would be one of the strong sort of employment incentives, that there was either free parent-child facilities or low cost, and if you like a sort of instant environment. Your waterfront image, I couldn't relate at all to any of the blocks that that I'm actually looking on the plan, and just a simple thing, give it a number or a label and put an arrow on here, so that it wasn't until you said where the retail core was I had a clue where it actually was. So I think there's some very, very strong ideas there, and it's sort of telling me, and it possibly came out of your analysis, that fundamentally this area is broken. It's been broken for a long time, and unless something really bold and strong goes into it, we're going to be sort of fiddling around the edges, much like we have been for the last 15, 20 years. So if that is your story, hang on to it, but it's almost post-rationalising it, actually then find the narrative that supports the structure you've got. Otherwise it might look a little bit that it's parachuted in from somewhere else. And I'm not saying it has been, I just think you need to explain and justify why it's the shape it actually is.
Yeah, certainly the circular shape, I can understand you explain why you were doing that, but that can be equally done in a more orthodox block than what you're trying to achieve. Now, doing different shaped buildings is absolutely fine, but just be careful with the. So you want to make it better than the orthodox block, than the orthodox block basically. But there's areas here that potentially could be just some of these the external spaces that you're creating, particularly that one, could be, if it's not treated carefully, could be a bit complex and actually not the greatest of space. Yeah. So you don't want to cause issues by doing this circular, because to be honest, no one's really going to understand, apart from standing in the centre, but that could easily be a square. No one is going to understand that is from flying over the top is a circle. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Bird eyes.
So make it better than the orthodox, basically.
Yeah. Again, I agree with what my colleagues have said. I quite like this, because you've actually one of the few that have picked up the direct link from the bridge there and taken that straight the way through to something. I'm not quite sure that it terminates in something that is big enough or bold enough or important enough visually, because that will be the end of your vista. Although you'll see over the top of that, and off to one side of it, you'll see the transporter bridge. So, that might not matter that much. It matters the closer you get to it, because the closer you get to it, the more it rises up and the less you see of the transporter bridge. So, some thought about that. Pick up the point that Dan's making. I actually quite like that idea of this, some sort of concentric, the mechanical sort of looking hub which rotates you and allows you then to have that secondary axis going off this way to pick up the parent and child facilities. I sort of like the sort of slightly Islamic looking gardens and stuff here, which I think are quite intriguing. I think so. I think there's, the blocks look generally believable. You're not that far away from it. The perimeter. The devil would be in the detail. You have to go zoom in and actually see how it all worked. What is your? Have you got a detail area here? This is your detail area?
Yeah.
Is it right? Okay, that's fine. So that's really my main comment on that. I think I'm intrigued to see where it's going. I know if this came together fairly quickly last week, and it's a major move forward. Slightly puzzled by the shape of some of these buildings, quite what they're doing like that. What would be very helpful for me is, I don't know, looking at this, whether that's a building or if that's a pattern, or that's got something to do with landscape. I do find there's something not quite working right about the shadows for some reason on the graphics. I don't know why, but my eye struggles to work out what's building, what's not building. So maybe just some, a different palette of colours might help me. If it's a building, it's one shade. If it's green, it's green. It's grass, green planting.
That is indoor car parking.
Right. So I think that sort of just to know what if that was shown as green, we'd know it was green. If it's not green, if it's paving, then have a paving colour, have a colour for your buildings, so that it's just consistent and it would make it easier to interpret.
Or if you just made it a 3D,
Yeah.
then you would instantly work out by
You see it's
implication
straight
what
away.
the extruded buildings and therefore what the spaces were.
Yeah. But that's I think it's,
What's the public transport hub? Just remind us what that is.
It's like, because we expect the public transportation will develop, because if this area is successful, but there's just like a main bus station, because the route is like that. So we start from.
yeah. I suppose the issue would be what's the form of is that the shape of a building that could be a bus station? And I'm not sure it is, because if the bus, it would either need a lot of forecourt for the buses to pull in, reverse back and drive out in some way. Buses, if it's a bus station, that means they terminate there, doesn't it?
It wouldn't justify a bus station. It would just, it would be a bus
Yeah,
stop for
bus
something
stop, yeah.
that's going to
But
go around the
Maybe a
loop.
nice bus
Yeah.
stop with
A very
traffic.
nice bus stop. Yeah. This is a question for everybody, because no one will address it. Where's the nearest school that the youngsters will be taken to?
Middlesbrough
The what? Sorry.
College.
That's the college, but this is for
young.
children.
Infants. Where's the nearest infant school?
Is
It's
there
okay,
any-
you don't have to answer it, but I think that's a question that you do need to think about, everybody. If you are having residential properties on there, where's the education facilities and where the kids going to go to?
And that, I'm afraid, is time up. Also, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Can I just take a moment, first of all, to thank my colleagues for giving up the time today to come and help us out. I think that's we found it a fascinating exercise. Personally, I've been really surprised how far you've come in the space of a week. Having seen most of the schemes last week, you've done extremely well. The marking has been more positive than I thought it would have been. It's on mine at least. I've got to moderate this yet, but I think you've done very, very well, everyone. It's been even where we thought we might have had some difficulty. It's not been the case. It's things have really progressed. Hopefully, the comments the panel will help you. If you think hard about building footprints, making sure your footprints are right, making sure that the building's in the right places, make sure the routes are nice and clear, and think about things from eye level of the user. If you do those things, you'll make a huge difference to the viability of your scheme and the believability of your drawings. But you've done very well. I mean, I was really very pleased. I think my colleagues agree.
Yep.
Well, I came to the baseline crit a couple of weeks ago, and I think things have moved on a tremendous amount.
Yeah. So well done, thanks, and pass it on to your colleagues who aren't here. But everyone's done themselves proud today. Thank you very much. Okay.
Can I say something before everyone leaves, because I want to see you? Just keep an eye, and I know I'm on the very bad news, but I have to be, that, just keep an eye on the fact that there's only 4 weeks left in the project, which means, I know this has been a massive trade, and you put a lot of work to it, but you can't really afford to relax. You can relax tonight, but the next 4 weeks are obviously crucial, because you have to be developing your master plan in your detail area. So to keep up the pace, because I know that sometimes it happens after a big break that you want to have a bit of a but then if you come next week to tutorials without much work, you're gonna fall behind. So unfortunately, there's a pace, but we're not too far from Christmas, which is a big break. So anyway, sorry, bear bad news, like I say. I feel like I have to remind you.
But enjoy tonight.
Yeah.